In the summer of 2008, a small U.S. Navy research vessel entered the Bermuda Triangle for what should have been a routine equipment recovery. Within days, the crew reported sonar shadows larger than submarines, sudden disappearances, and impacts strong enough to bend steel. One diver vanished without a trace. A deep-sea drone came back crushed as if something had bitten straight through it. The audio recordings, still locked behind classification, capture sounds no marine scientist can explain. Most people only know the rumors. But the survivors insist on one thing: it was really there. So before we continue, please make sure to like and subscribe to support the channel, and comment down below where you're watching from. Thanks. I still think about that deployment. North Atlantic, year 2008. USNS Harker. A boxy little Navy research tub run mostly by civilians with a few of us Marines stapled on for security. We were an afterthought, a formality. Nobody said it out loud, but everyone knew it. The Navy didn't put grunts on a ship unless something classified or stupid was happening. Turns out we got both. I was a corporal back then. Riley Voss. Young, dumb, full of piss. Didn't know I'd leave that ship with nightmares that still wake me up. Harker wasn't much. She smelled like rust and diesel and old coffee. The kind of boat contractors use for ocean surveys and test gear nobody wanted to risk on the big vessels. We had a crew of civilian techs mixed with Navy specialists and a handful of Marines. Nothing fancy. We spent most days doing drills or sitting around bitching about chow packets. Mission was simple on paper. Test old side scans, sonar rigs, and acoustic beacons. The Navy wanted to know why some of their towed sonar pods had vanished during the last hurricane season. A deep-sea instrument package too. Expensive stuff. Just blinked off the face of the ocean like it got swallowed. NOAA and DARPA wanted the logs. Blue Corps Marine wanted data for their own contract. We were just there to keep people safe while they played with outdated gear. Didn't feel weird, not at first. We drifted right into the Bermuda Triangle. Nobody made a big deal of it. A couple of sailors joked about ghosts and compasses spinning, that kind of cram. Truth was, storms screwed up equipment out here all the time. Bad luck, bad currents. You expect it. LTS, LT. Cam Dr. Cole Mercer ran the Navy side. Clean haircut, always calm, eyes that stayed level no matter how much stupidity came his way. He wasn't a hard ass. He just didn't waste energy. That made people listen when he spoke. Chief Malik Saunders was our sonar tech, old school Navy. Lean, sharp, eyes like a tired hawk. He lived in that sonar shack, always tapping buttons, muttering about resolution and returns like the ocean owed him a straight answer. Then there was Dr. Elena Ruiz from Blue Corps. Small woman, always cold, always scribbling. She wasn't the usual cheerful contractor type, more like someone working through a math problem nobody else could see. We had 8 Marines, including me. Gunnery Sergeant Riley Voss, different Riley, not me, ran us. Big man. Loved his M4 more than life. He kept us busy with drills, weapons cleaning, fire team movement across slippery decks. Stupid stuff, but it passed the time. Days went slow, ocean flat and blue, engines humming steady. The scientists ran ROV checks. Old machines. Tethered, ugly, slow. Cameras looked like someone smeared grease on them. Couldn't dive deeper than maybe 2,000 meters before you started praying the cable didn't snap. We watched them lower the thing over the rail again and again while Ruiz and the other Blue Corps techs argued about calibration numbers. GPS held fine. Gyro compass steady. Weather clear. It actually felt peaceful. We slept in cramped berthing stacked 3 high, 8 reheated, whatever the galley served. Marines smoked on the aft deck while sailors pretended they didn't hear. Nights were quiet except for the usual hum of the ship cutting through water. Nobody talked about the missing pods. Everyone remembered, sure. Navy doesn't lose expensive equipment for no reason, but most figured it was storms or currents. Maybe sabotage from some bored fishing crew. Maybe the Triangle doing triangle things. Nothing supernatural. Nobody believed that junk. I'd go topside sometimes after midnight, just to breathe. North Atlantic air in winter hits different. Sharp, clean, makes you feel awake. I'd lean on the rail and watch the Black Sea roll past under the running lights. Always looked bottomless, like nothing lived down there except pressure and darkness. Dr. Ruiz joined me once. She didn't say hi, just stood there, staring into the water like it whispered. "You think something took those pods?" I asked. She blinked like she'd forgotten I existed. "Data will tell us." Not helpful. Not comforting either. Next morning, Mercer briefed everyone. We'd do slow grid sweeps with the older sonar arrays Blue Core had patched up. The towed sensor fish looked like a fat torpedo dragged behind us. On screen, it showed grainy slices of the seafloor, blurry, patchy, but workable. Malik monitored the screens while the civilians scribbled coordinates. We Marines stood around watching, pretending the whole thing mattered. Mostly we just stayed out of the way unless someone needed muscle. Hours passed. Nothing. Return after return. Flat, boring. Then we started hauling trawl nets for biological samples. Standard survey stuff. Usually you'd get schools of little fish, plankton mush, maybe a lost squid. But nets came up light, almost empty. Crew laughed about dead zone water, but Ruiz didn't laugh. She frowned like the numbers insulted her. I remember her saying under her breath, "Something is feeding heavily out here." Nobody really listened. Routine stayed routine. No danger, no ghost ships, no strange lights. Just ocean and boredom. Gunnery Sergeant Riley would make us run rifle drills on the fantail. M4 carbines, old M9 pistols. Nothing exotic. We shot at floating buoys or practiced clearing imaginary compartments. Stupid but necessary. Navy brass loves readiness. That first week, nothing felt wrong. It was all quiet blue water and steady schedules. The kind of peaceful lull you get before the world tips sideways. The only odd bit came one evening when Malik leaned out of the sonar shack and yelled at us to keep the deck quiet. Said he was getting faint returns he didn't like, but he shrugged it off after. Probably seafloor clutter, he said. Didn't think about it again until later. Later, when everything went hell deep. But for that first stretch, life was normal. Calm, routine. Nobody scared. Nobody watching the water. If we'd known what waited under us, hell, we would have burned fuel heading for Mayport at full speed. But we didn't. We stayed. And the ocean watched us back. The shift in mood came quiet. No alarm. No shout. Just a change in how people breathed on deck. You spend enough time around sailors and Marines, you feel it before you hear it. It started with Malik. I remember walking past the sonar shack, coffee in hand, when he called out, voice low like he didn't want the walls to hear, "Voss, get Mercer." I poked my head in. The room was dim. Only screen glow. Malik sat forward, elbows on knees, staring at a return that jittered across the display. The old sonar system wasn't good, grainy as hell. But even on trash gear, size means something. And the thing he had marked, it wasn't small. "What is that?" I asked. He didn't answer, just jabbed a finger at the depths readout. Over a kilometer down. Slow. Big. How big? It keeps shifting. Resolution's crap. He scrubbed his face with both hands. But nothing that deep should be moving that slow, or that straight. I went and grabbed Mercer. He studied the screen for a long minute. "Could be bad bottom bounce," he said. Malik didn't look convinced. Then the ocean floors following us. We all laughed a little. Nervous. That wasn't the only weird thing. Next morning we dragged the trawl net again. Barely caught anything. A handful of tiny shrimp, almost no plankton, and one half-chewed fish head that smelled like ammonia. Ruiz stared at the samples like they were insults. "This isn't normal," she said. Mercer overheard. "Storm season hurts ecosystems. This isn't storm damage." She tapped her clipboard. "This is absence." Like everything left fast. She didn't say what everyone thought. Something made them leave. Around noon, one of the small Navy inflatables came back towing something half-sunk and metallic. A chunk of Navy sonar pod, one of the missing ones. It looked wrong. Metal bent inward. Electronics crushed flat like someone had squeezed it in a giant fist. Edges curled. Wiring snapped. No scorch marks. No shrapnel. Just pressure in the wrong direction. "Implosion," Mercer said. "Standard line." "Predictable." Voss, my gunny, shook his head. "Metal doesn't fold that clean unless something helped it." Ruiz crouched beside the wreckage, quiet, eyes darting across the bends and dents. She didn't say a word. Just wrote notes fast. I didn't like that. That night, the hydrophone started picking up something new. I was on watch when the audio tech waved me over. "You hear whales before?" he asked. "Sure. Well, this ain't whales." He patched the feed through the speaker. Deep, low rumble. Lower than anything I ever felt. You didn't hear it so much as feel it in your ribs. Long pulses. Rhythmic. Too steady. Too calm. No song. No chatter. Just a slow rolling sound that didn't care what listened. The tech swallowed. It's far, but loud. We logged it. No one slept great that night. The next day, Malik showed us another sonar return. He tried to act casual, but his hands shook a little. Look at the size change. The echo stretched and shrank across the screen. Old sonar does that when something huge is moving, but you can't get a clean profile. Looked like a mountain sliding through black water. "It's pacing us," he finally said. Mercer ordered more checks, more grid sweeps. We went on, pretending routine still mattered, but the unease grew. You could hear it in boots on deck, see it in the tight way sailors coiled ropes, smell it in the air when Ruiz walked by, scribbling like a woman seeing her fears written out in numbers. The ocean around us stayed quiet. No gulls, no dolphins, no scattered fish jumping in wake light, just flat water and the hum of the ship. Something big was out there, something hungry. And for the first time, the Harker didn't feel like a boat anymore. It felt like bait. By day 4, everyone was running on nerves and caffeine. Mercer wanted answers, Blue Corps wanted data, and Malik wanted the sonar to stop acting weird. We Marines just wanted to go home. The plan that morning was simple: drop the ROV again and sweep the deeper trench where one of the missing Navy pods had last pinged its beacon before going dark. The weather was decent, seas calm, good enough to lower the old tethered machine over the rail without losing fingers. The ROV looked like a yellow lunchbox with thrusters. Its camera was barely better than a flip phone. A long cable ran back to a reel bolted to the deck. It wasn't impressive, but it worked most of the time. We got it in the water without trouble. Ruiz hovered over the screen like a mother waiting for an ultrasound, scribbling notes every time the image flickered. Malik adjusted the controls from the shack, guiding the ROV down through black layers of water. You could hear the cable groan as it unspooled. At about 1,000 meters, the screen was a snowstorm of silt and drifting crap. The ROV lights cut maybe 15 feet ahead before fading into black soup. "Visibility's trash," Malik muttered. "That's normal for this area," Ruiz said, but she looked pale. The deeper it went, the more uncomfortable the ship felt. Like we weren't alone. Like something watched through all that water. When the ROV hit the shadow zone, the picture fuzzed out even worse. Just drifting particulate and a dark haze. Then something passed the lens. At first I thought it was a rock wall, but it moved. Slow, gray, covered in barnacle clusters spaced across thick, rough hide. Long, pale scar lines. The camera caught only a glimpse before it slipped back into the dark. "What the hell was that?" one of the sailors asked. "Could be a wreck," Mercer said, trying to stay steady. "That wasn't metal," Ruiz murmured. "That was skin." Everyone shut up after that. Malik tried to rotate the ROV for another look. Hydrophone picked up a sudden, heavy pressure change, like the water itself held its breath. The tether twitched, then jerked so hard the reel squealed. "What was that?" Mercer snapped. "Something hit it," Malik said. The screen flashed, static ripping across it. The camera flickered back just long enough to show something impossible. Rows of huge triangular shapes, pale at the edges, dark toward the base. Teeth. Teeth bigger than the ROV. Then the feed went black. The deck lurched as the tether went slack. Malik killed the power and yelled for retrieval. Sailors hauled the line back hand over hand. When the torn end finally cleared the rail, everyone stepped back. The cable looked shredded, not frayed, not snapped, bitten. Ruiz covered her mouth. Those weren't rocks. That was cartilage and enamel. Nobody laughed. Nobody cracked a joke. The ocean around us might as well have been empty space. Merely an hour later, a satellite burst message came through. Old system. Low bandwidth. Plain text. No fancy encrypted video link. Just blocky letters on a greenish screen. Proxied with mission. Continue survey. No deviations. Mercer read it twice before handing it to Ruiz. "You expecting this?" She frowned. "I didn't request anything. Command wants us to keep moving," Malik said. "Of course they do," Gunny muttered behind me. "We could get hit by a flying whale and they'd tell us to log it and continue." The deck felt different after that. We all felt the weight of the deep pressing itself against us. Like the creature. Whatever ripped that ROV apart was still down there, circling the hull, waiting. Crew moved slower. Voices stayed low. Even the usual jokes about the triangle stopped. We all kept glancing at the water. Even in broad daylight, the North Atlantic looked darker than before, like something huge was rising from below. Something patient. We'd only seen teeth for a fraction of a second, but it was enough. Something down there was big enough to take a Navy diver without stopping, strong enough to crush steel pods inward, smart enough to follow sonar grids and stay at the edges, and hungry enough to bite a machine the size of a refrigerator clean in half. We should have turned for home right then, but the message said continue, so we did. The weather turned on us the next morning. Not a full storm yet, but sharp winds and rolling swells that slapped the hull like open palms. The sky went that steel gray color that means trouble. Mercer ordered all exterior movement roped and clipped. Nobody argued. The deeper we went into the grid sweep, the more our instruments acted drunk. First, the gyro compass drifted a couple degrees, then 5, then swung back like nothing happened. Malik cussed at it for an hour. GPS cut in and out, which wasn't new in the triangle, but it still made everyone twitchy. Even the radar stuttered now and then. Old systems, sure, but this felt like the ocean was jamming us on purpose. Around mid-afternoon, Malik called us again. "You all need to see this," he said, sounding tired in a way that scared me. We gathered around the sonar screen. The resolution was crap, just blobs and smears. But even I could tell something. Long was pacing us at medium depth, not close enough to show shape, not far enough to ignore. "Maybe it's a school of something," a sailor said. "School of what?" Malik snapped. "Submarines." We watched that echo move in parallel with us. Smooth, calm, waiting. Gunny leaned in. "Whatever that is, it's big and hungry," no one argued. The hit came 2 hours later. I was on deck tying down a crate when the whole ship lurched sideways like something shoved us. Tools slid. A sailor fell on his ass. A loud metallic thud boomed through the hull, deep and bone-shaking. "Impact port side," someone yelled through the intercom. I raced to the rail and looked down. Nothing but boiling white water. Below deck, engineers scrambled. One came up pale-faced to Mercer. "Sir, we've got a dent. A big one. Something rammed us." "Any flooding?" Not yet. Hated those words. Mercer called for a hull inspection. In 2008, that meant divers. No drones, no fancy underwater robots. Just 2 guys in surface-supplied rigs, steel helmets, hoses running back to the deck. Old school. Dangerous even on a good day. We got them suited up. Navy divers Singh and Harper. Both confident, both steady-handed. They clipped into the umbilicals and climbed down the ladder into churning gray water. "Feed looks good," Malik said, watching the diver cam grain across a monitor in engineering. Static at the edges, but workable. The camera bobbed under. We saw the hull, patched rust, layers of marine crab stuck to steel. "Moving to the dent," Singh reported. "You could hear wind and waves on the surface, but under that, a deep hum." The ocean felt alive. The divers rounded the bilge area. The dent was huge, steel bent inward like someone hit it with a wrecking ball. "Jesus," Harper muttered. "What did that?" Then something shifted in the camera's background. A shape. Dark, massive. No detail. Just presence. "Hold position," Mercer said. Sir," Singh whispered. "It's behind us." The shape moved, a rush of bubbles. Static. A sound like metal scraping bone. Harper screamed. Something jerked his tether so hard the whole reel shook. Then the line went slack. "Harper, respond," Malik yelled. Nothing. We pulled the tether up. Half of it came aboard, shredded like someone fed it to a grinder. Singh was hauled back fast. When he came up the ladder, he tore off his helmet, eyes wild, mouth shaking. "It took him," he gasped. It was right there. It took him. He kept repeating it until the corpsman sedated him. The ocean around us went quiet again. Too quiet. A predator had taken a diver a meter from a steel hull in rough seas. Calm, clean, without hesitation. Panic hit the crew in waves. Some sailors refused to go near rails. Others whispered about leaving the area, storm or not. Everyone looked at the water like it held a loaded gun. That evening, another satellite message came in. Same low bandwidth format. Same clipped tone. Maintain survey station. DO not withdraw. Malik double-checked the route it came through, frowned hard. This didn't come from Navy servers, he said. Mercer stepped closer. What do you mean? It bounced through Blue Corps' relay kit first. All eyes turned to Ruiz. She looked stunned, but not surprised. I didn't request anything, Gunny muttered. Funny how your bosses always know the right time to call. Nobody said more, but everyone felt the rot spreading. Something was wrong with our orders. Something was wrong with Blue Corps. Something deep below was getting bolder. And the Harker was now a wounded animal drifting above its hunting ground. The night after the diver died was the first time the crew truly broke. Not in a loud way, not panic on deck, just this slow, quiet cracking you could feel in the air. A shift in how people walked, talked, looked at the water. Even Mercer seemed rattled, though he hid it behind clipped orders and calm eyes. By midnight, the storm eased enough for us to run floodlights across the surface. Rain spit sideways. Deck slick. Wind cutting through jackets. That's when the hydrophones picked up something new. A deep resonance. Long pulses. Not the rumble from earlier. This one had pattern. Structure. Like something calling out. Searching. Claiming territory. A sound that made everyone stop talking. Malik turned the volume down quick. This is predatory, he whispered. It's not singing, it's warning. The ocean answered with stillness. Next morning, a break in the storm rolled through. Gray sun. Flat water, air thick with leftover lightning stink. The kind of lull that makes your arms tense, even when nothing happens. Mercer ordered floodlights on again as we moved to a new grid line. Ruiz hovered by the rail with her notepad, eyes sunken, fingers tapping like she expected the ocean to talk back. When the thing finally showed itself, it didn't breach, didn't roar, didn't do anything dramatic. It just glided under the surface. A massive dorsal ridge slid beneath the light cone. Dark, scored with scars. As long as a truck bed, and behind it bulk. A shadow the size of a freight car drifting just below the chop. No one spoke. No one moved. Malik's voice cracked over the intercom. Length, hell, around 40 or 50 feet. Ruiz whispered, it shouldn't exist. Not fear. Awe. And something else. Something like relief. Like a woman seeing her theory confirmed in blood. It vanished again in seconds. But that was all it took. Every person on deck knew we were sharing the water with something older than storms. Then Ruiz dropped her bomb. Blue Corps hadn't told the Navy everything. They suspected something lived in the deep trenches out here. Something that explained the lost submersibles, fishermen's stories, whale carcasses torn in ways nobody could categorize. She'd been sent to observe anomalies, not investigate missing hardware. You knew something was out here, Mercer said, voice cold, tight, and you didn't tell anyone. I didn't know what, she shot back. Blue Corps only said we were tracking a relict predator. I thought. You thought you'd be safe on a research tug? Gunny barked. Lady, this ain't a damn zoo. Ruiz didn't flinch. We needed proof. And now we have it. Proof? One of my divers is dead, Mercer growled. Ruiz stared at the deck. I'm sorry. But she didn't sound sorry. She sounded focused, obsessed. Obsessed. The attack began around sunset. Malik was tracking sonar when the smear appeared again. Fast, close, moving upward. Impact incoming, he shouted. The hull shook hard enough to knock a sailor over the rail net. A second hit followed. Sharper. Teeth or steel, we couldn't tell, but something scraped the hull plating and tore away a piece of equipment bolted near the stern. It took the towed sonar fish, Malik yelled, sheared it clean. We heard metal crunch. Something bit down on the cable drum. Sparks flew. The deck pitched. Crate slid. Voss grabbed me by the vest before I hit the rail. Then everything stopped. Quiet. Water rolled calm again, like the thing was testing us, seeing what we were made of. Mercer gathered us in the mess hall. Sailors, Marines, scientists. Everyone except engineering and helm. He spread the map out. We leave at dawn, he said. Storm's moving north. We'll cut east, then south. Get out clean. That thing is between us and east, Malik said. Doesn't matter, Gunny replied. We move. We push through. Ruiz slammed her notebook on the table. If we run, we lose everything. This is a discovery that changes biology, history, everything about marine evolution. Mercer glared. This isn't about science anymore. It's survival. You don't get it, she said, voice shaking. If we don't understand it, more people will die. Ships go missing out here every year. Gunny cut her off. Lady, we just watched that thing eat a diver like popcorn. Nothing we have on board can kill it. We're prey. That's the beginning and end of it. Ruiz looked down, fists tight. She wasn't scared, she was torn. Like she'd been waiting her whole life for this one horrible moment and didn't know which side she belonged on. Mercer nodded at the chart. We leave at dawn, that's final. But dawn never came peacefully. Around 3 in the morning, the hull shook again, harder, slamming us awake. Alarms blared. Crew tumbled into boots and jackets. The rain hit sideways. Lightning flashed off the bridge windows. Something huge circled the ship. Not fast, just confident. Like it owned the water now. Another impact rocked us. Steel groaned. A pipe burst somewhere below. People slipped on icy spray coating the deck. In the chaos, Malik shouted from the sonar shack, "It's under us. It's directly under us." Ruiz ran to the rails, shouting at the water, "Don't leave, stay in range." Gunny yanked her back before a wave washed her off. You lost your damn mind? The creature didn't wait for dawn. It wanted us now, and we weren't ready. The storm hit full force by the time we scrambled to stations. Ropes whipped. Rain stung like gravel. Deck slick enough to break ankles. The ship pitched hard, bow rising and slamming down like it wanted to fold itself in half. You could feel the creature circling, not just in the hull, in your gut, like pressure, like something big enough to change the water around us with its own weight. Power flickered. The generators on the Harker were old even back in 2008. Every time the lights cut, people froze, waiting for the ship to split or for teeth to come up through the deck. Heat power steady, Mercer yelled into the radio. We're trying, engineering shied back. One generator's struggling. She can't hold load. Static chewed the rest of the words. Real static. Analog. The scratchy kind you get from bad wiring. Not the digital packet loss we get these days. It made everything feel more desperate. Radar gave up completely. Just a spinning line and empty sweep. No returns. No weather readout. Nothing. We were blind. GPS dropped. Gyro compass drifted again. Every instrument acted like it wanted to mutiny. Crew started breaking. A group of sailors tried to drag one of the inflatable rafts out. In that mess. In that storm. No sane man would try it, which told us exactly where their heads were. Gunny Voss stormed down from the rail and grabbed the ringleader. You launch a raft in this and you're dead in 5 minutes. That thing's gonna eat us, the sailor shouted back. We stay together, Gunny barked, shaking him once. Nobody goes overboard. He held the crew together the way only a Marine sergeant can, by force of voice and the promise of violence. But fear hung thick, thicker than diesel and salt. Then we lost another. A hit slammed the port side so hard the whole ship rolled. I heard screaming. A sailor slid across the deck and over the lifeline before anyone could grab him. I got there first with a spotlight. Found him flailing in black water, waves tossing him like trash. He screamed for help, arms punching at the surface. Then something huge passed under him. A shadow the length of a bus, smooth and terrifyingly fast. Red water spread out in a slow bloom. We pulled the light back fast. No one wanted to see the rest. Men started praying, out loud. Even guys who probably hadn't prayed since boot camp. Ruiz kept working. She huddled over her rugged laptop in the mess, water dripping off her. The storm raged around us, but she typed like the world wasn't falling apart. When I passed through, she didn't even look up. You should be strapped in, I said. Can't, she murmured. Data's coming through. I leaned in. The screen showed a fresh satellite burst email from Bluecore. Tagging device must be placed on specimen. Compensation approved. My stomach twisted. You've got to be kidding me. Ruiz swallowed hard. They want proof, hard proof. I grabbed her wrist. This isn't a whale. This thing killed a diver and ate 2 sailors. I know. She pulled her hand free. But if we can tag it. Tag it? I snapped. We're fighting to stay alive. Her voice cracked. You think I don't know that? Ruiz wasn't a villain. She was terrified. Cornered between her job and the nightmare outside, Mercer barged in. We need you, topside. She shut the laptop, but her eyes stayed on the screen like her conscience lived in those lines of text. Topside looked worse. The ship shook with every wave. Metal screamed. Lights flickered. You could hear the creature under the waterline, faint scrapes, thuds, the deep vibration of something bigger than any sub I'd ever seen. We gathered on the bridge. Mercer, Gunny, Ruiz, Malik, a handful of soaked sailors and Marines. We can't kill it, Mercer said plainly. Small arms won't touch it. Then what? Gunny asked. Distract it, Malik said. Draw it off long enough for us to get clear. Ruiz hesitated, then pulled a small binder from her jacket. There are underwater demolition charges in storage, old ones. 2008 models. Timers only. No remote trigger. Gunny frowned. Blast my criblet. Or piss it off, I muttered. And we have whale distress recordings on file, Ruiz added, from earlier surveys. If we play them through the hull speakers, it might go after the sound instead of the ship, Malik finished. Mercer nodded slowly. So we rig a decoy. Plan was simple, stupid, risky as hell. Deploy a buoy broadcasting whale distress calls. Strap demolition charges to it. Set timers. Draw the creature off. Run like hell. A plan born from desperation, but it was all we had. We do this fast, Mercer said, before it hits us again. Gunny clapped his hands. Marines, gear up. We're going outside. The storm got worse. Wind punched the deck. Rain cut sideways. We moved hand over hand along safety lines. The creature circled. We could feel the pulses through the hull. Every time it passed, the water shivered. Crew watched us with hollow eyes as we dragged out the crate of demolition charges. 2 metal cylinders, heavy as sin, old enough that I didn't trust the timers. We strapped them to the buoy housing, fingers numb, gear soaked, waves trying to throw us off the ship. It felt like the ocean wanted us dead. Before we could finish, the hull shook again. Hard. The deck snapped sideways. A crate skidded past me and nearly crushed Ruiz. Gunny grabbed her arm. Stay focused. She nodded, face ghost white. Another hit rocked the stern. This one deeper. I heard steel buckle somewhere underfoot. Lights died for 2 seconds, 2 very long seconds. Then emergency strips flickered on. We kept going, fighting the storm, fighting our own shaking hands. The mission had changed. This wasn't research. This was survival. And something out there wanted to make sure none of us lived long enough to speak of it. We set the trap just after 3 in the morning. The storm hadn't eased. Sky black, wind howling. Deck tilted enough that you had to lean your whole weight against the rail just to stay upright. The buoy looked pathetic. A metal can with speakers, demolition charges taped tight along its base, and a small time trigger. No remote detonation. No backup, just a countdown and hope. Gunny, 2 Marines, and I hauled it toward the rail. Ruiz followed, clutching the recording device like it was a holy relic. Once it's overboard, Malik said over the radio, I'll route the distress call through it. Timer starts as soon as it hits water. Make sure it screams loud, Gunny said. We need that thing looking the other way. Lightning flashed and showed the waves, towering walls rolling out of the dark. Something huge moved beneath them. Not a ripple, a shift, like the sea had muscles. Let's go, Mercer shouted. We heaved the buoy overboard. It splashed down, bobbing violently, tether line paying out until it drifted a good 20 meters off our port side. Signals up, Malik radioed. Broadcasting now. A low, mournful wail drifted across the surface, recorded whale distress. A sound that said something dying, something weak. We waited. Seconds stretched. The ship groaned under another hit, but lighter this time. More like a warning. The creature testing us, feeling us. Come on, Gunny whispered. Then the sonar shack lit up. Malik's voice cracked. It's moving, heading for the buoy, fast. Ruiz gripped the rail with white knuckles. It worked. Let's move, Mercer ordered. Open her up. Engines ahead. Engineering kicked the throttle. The ship strained forward, trying to build speed despite waves slamming the bow. For a moment, it felt like maybe the plan was actually working. Then the creature changed course. A massive impact hit the stern, almost knocking us to our knees. God damn it, I yelled, grabbing a stanchion. Water sprayed high as something rammed us again, harder. The kind of hit that makes steel ring like a bell. We're taking water and engineering, someone shouted over the radio. Pumps are active, but barely keeping up. We can't stop, Mercer ordered. Keep pushing, another hit. The deck lurched sideways. Ruiz nearly went over the rail. I pulled her back by her jacket. The boat groaned like a dying animal. The bulkheads rattled. Somewhere below, alarms screamed. Sonar, Mercer barked. It's confused, Malik answered. It's switching targets. It's diving, no. It's rising again. Timer? Gunny asked, breath harsh. 30 seconds, Malik said. A huge wave slammed us, knocking one Marine flat. I hauled him up. The deck pitched again, sharp this time, like something shoved us from below. Keep moving, Gunny shouted. Don't slow down. The buoy screamed its dying wail playback across the water. You could almost feel the sound vibrating through the hull. Then Malik's voice came over the radio, strained to the edge of panic. It's going for the buoy. Direct trajectory. Everyone froze. You sure? Mercer asked. Positive. It's locked in. A huge dark mass broke the surface near the buoy, just a glimpse under the floodlights. Not a full breach. Just a ridge, scars, massive bulk turning in the chop. The buoy disappeared beneath the water. Gunny whispered, do it. A second passed. 2, 3. The sea lit up from below. A dull, muffled boom rolled through the hull and up our bones. The water around the buoy erupted into a churning mess of foam and red. The shockwave hit us neck deep, heavy, like someone punched the entire ocean. The ship rocked violently. Crates shifted. Men grabbed rails. A pipe burst somewhere near the port walk. Malik shouted, Sonar, something sinking. Big mass falling. Movement slowing. Silence. Real silence. Even the storm seemed to pause. The Harker pushed forward through the chop, engines whining, but no more impacts shook us. No shadows circled. No deep rumble vibrated through the hull. Ruiz stared at the red stains spreading across the water. We got it. Gunny didn't celebrate. He scanned the waves with hard eyes, breathing slow. Bodies float, he said. What sinks is wounded. Mercer nodded. We don't know if it's dead. We don't stop to check. But even as he said it, everyone leaned against the rails, watching the water like it might rise up again. Minutes passed. Nothing surfaced. Not a carcass. Not a fin, not a shadow. Just storm water and blood. Malik's voice crackled from the shack, quieter now. Whatever's down there, it's moving slower, way slower. Could be dying, could be running. Doesn't matter, Mercer said. We're leaving. Now. The Harker pushed south, engines straining, hull groaning, crew silent. No one relaxed. No one unclenched fists or shoulders. The storm eased a little, as if even the weather was catching its breath. I remember gripping the rail until my hands hurt, watching the red fade behind us. Gunny stood beside me. You think it's dead? I asked. He didn't look away from the black water. No, he said. Something that old doesn't die easy. None of us slept. Not after that. We didn't speak much either. We were alive, sure, but nobody on board thought it was over. Not after what we'd seen. Not after what we'd felt beneath the waves. Not after the hit that nearly rolled the ship. The ocean held its secrets close. And whatever we hit with those charges felt like it was deciding if we were worth one more try. Sunrise came weak the next morning, a thin strip of pale light behind thick clouds. The storm finally eased to a steady chop. After what we'd lived through, the quiet felt wrong, like the ocean was pretending to behave. Everyone moved stiff and slow. No jokes, no small talk. Just people checking gear, checking bruises, checking the water. We didn't see the creature again, didn't hear it, didn't feel it under the hull. But nobody trusted the silence. Mercer had us hold a steady course south until we cleared the grid entirely. Then he finally allowed a full retreat toward Mayport. Engines strained, hull groaned the whole way, dented and cracked in places from the hits. But she held. Back in calmer water, Mercer gathered his report. He worked in silence, jaw tight, eyes never leaving the screen. Ruiz gave him the ROV fragments. Malik provided sonar logs, shredded tether, the diver's broken line, hydrophone recordings of the creature's calls. Gunny and I wrote our statements about the hits, the lost sailors, and the detonation. By the time we approached port, Mercer had a thick stack of documentation. Everything we'd seen, everything we could prove. He sent the full report up the chain. It didn't take long for the Navy to answer. The message was short, routine, almost casual. DOC AT Navsta Mayport for debrief. AC Canal. Legend. No mention of the predator, no shock, no disbelief. Just an order, like they already knew. The debrief lasted 2 days. We sat in gray rooms under buzzing lights while officers asked the same questions again and again. Diver incident, equipment loss, hull impacts, explosives used. Why we deviated from standard survey behavior. Not once did they ask about the creature. Not once did they mention the calls. Not once did they say the word predator. Every time Ruiz brought up biological evidence, they redirected. Focused on classification protocols, not the thing itself. Someone in those rooms wanted the facts buried without having to say the words. Certain sonar files disappeared from the servers overnight. Others got flagged as corrupted. The hydrophone recordings got pulled into a restricted archive. Blue Core had fingerprints all over it. One morning, I passed a conference room and spotted Ruiz standing across from a Blue Core suit. Expensive jacket, no name tag, no rank insignia. He spoke with Mercer and a couple Navy officers. Ruiz looked shaken, not scared, just cornered again. The suit slid a folder across the table. Thick, heavy, probably a new contract. She didn't refuse. She didn't look proud either, just tired. When we were finally dismissed, Mercer got a quiet commendation. Not a medal. Just a good job handling a complex situation and a warning buried between lines. Follow your orders next time. No improvising. Gunny and the Marines were told to sign confidentiality forms. Standard stuff. Nothing outrageous. But the language was cold, sharp, like they'd already forgotten 2 men died. Ruiz left with her Blue Core escort. She didn't look back at us. Malik stayed on the ship to help the engineers with hull repairs. But just before we all went our separate ways, he found me on the pier. Got something weird, he said. He held up a small player, audio file loaded, unmarked. Where'd you get that? I asked. Came through yesterday morning. Anonymous sender. Navy route, but masked. Probably not supposed to exist. He pressed play. The sound was that same deep call. The predatory one, but stronger, clearer, echoing through deeper water. At the end, metadata scrolled across the tiny screen, recorded 400 miles east, depth unknown, timestamp 2 days after the blast. It didn't die, Malik said. It moved. I stared out at the calm Atlantic, blue, harmless, empty looking, but I knew better. That part of the ocean wasn't empty, never was. Whatever lived down there older than storms, big enough to crush steel, smart enough to hunt ships, was still out there, maybe wounded, maybe angry, maybe waiting. I still hear that call sometimes when I try to sleep. Deep, long, slow, too steady to be a whale, too heavy to be anything we understand. The Navy buried the report. Blue Core got what they wanted. The ocean kept it secret. And somewhere out in that deep black water, something still circles, hungry and patient, waiting for the next ship to drift too close. So that's the end of our video. If you made it this far, make sure to hit like and subscribe. It really helps the channel and it's free. And if you want more terrifying encounters like this one, check out the other videos on screen right now. Thanks for watching and stay safe out there. See you soon.